So exporting for small businesses, and as you know, this is brought to you by the Washington Center for Women in Business. A little bit of housekeeping. I know you kind of know how it works, Sandra, but this webinar is being recorded, and we will send it out to you after it's concluded so that if you miss any information or you wanted to revisit it, you're welcome to. But in between asking questions, please mute yourself so we don't have that background noise. And it's always best to call in versus using your computer audio. So if you need to, there's an audio pane that has the dial-in information. And if you have questions, you're welcome to either raise your hand or type it into the chat box, and we can answer it either way. And I'll help John and Leland manage those questions in the chat box if needed. And a little bit about the Washington Center for Women in Business. So we are an SBA-funded women's business center, which means the SBA gives us a little bit of money in order to provide technical assistance to women who either want to start a business, or if they're already in business, how can we help you be more profitable, grow, hire people, really understand your financials, your marketing, your business plan, anything that's kind of ailing you or you're not quite sure what to do in business. That's what we're here to help with. And we do a lot of workshops, either in person or webinar like this one, or one-on-one coaching with our business coach to help you get to where your goal. And the WCWB, our first session to sit down with us is free. Every session after that is $25 for an hour. However, if you're unable to afford it for any reason, we do have scholarships available. So please let us know. We don't want that $25 to be a barrier to anyone who needs business assistance. And my contact information, my name is Tracy Hansen. My contact information is there, as well as if you wanted to reach out to the business coach, Christine Buckley, directly. We more than welcome any questions, comments, contacts. So with that, I'm going to make John and Lee the presenter here. Take it away, guys.
Okay. Hi, this is John Brislin here, and I have Lee Gibbs in the room with me, and we're going to start with presentation. Again, we're happy to be here. Yeah, thank you. So, exporting small business. Again, you see both our agencies' names. I'm with the Export-Import Bank in the state.
Hey, John, I'm not sure what's happening to your audio here, but all of a sudden you're kind of garbled. I don't know if you're using the phone. Yeah, I can barely hear you all of a sudden. Maybe hang up and try calling again, or you were clear before when we were testing.
Is this better?
Much better, yeah.
Okay, so we probably had to turn up too high. How's that? Is that better?
Great, thank you so much.
Okay, fantastic. Okay, let's start again. I'm John Brislin with the Export-Import Bank of the United States.
And I'm Lee Gibbs with the Small Business Administration Office of International Trade.
And again, we're here to speak about exporting for small businesses. In the first section, we're going to speak about why Washington State companies should consider exporting. So again, what we're going to do is provide a profile of Washington State exporting vis-a-vis information from the International Trade Administration, U.S. Department of Commerce. And again, a lot of the talking points we're presenting are from the export.gov, the basic guide to exporting. So again, why Washington State companies should consider exporting. And again, exporting certainly is a great way to grow a business. Certainly a lot of newer businesses nowadays in their startup phase actually have export planning. Typically in the past, a lot of the companies we work with have successfully have a domestic business going and then consider exporting. But and a lot of emerging industries and stuff, exporting is actually in their initial plans. But again, some of the benefits of exporting is that it certainly helps a company to grow their bottom line. Typically, the companies that export are about 17% more profitable than those that don't. It allows companies to smooth their business cycles, including seasonal differences. An example being, we had a company out of Central Washington that sold snowboard wax. Well, obviously, you can only sell that at a certain time of the year. they started exporting down to South America, where again they have the opposing seasons so that they can smooth out their business cycles. Again, you can add management and intercultural expertise. Certainly in Washington State, we've got a lot of foreign nationals or people who've traveled to foreign nations who, would like to do business with those countries they either came from or have traveled to. And again, it allows the company to utilize their production capabilities fully year-round. And again, that lowers their production costs for their products. And again, it allows the company to defend your domestic market because, again, it allows you to increase your competitiveness and also the value of your intellectual property if you choose to license it, or increase the value of the business if you consider selling it at some point in the future. And again, exporting is strategic in that 95% of the world's consumers live outside the United States. That's a lot of potential customers to ignore. And about 1/3 of the buying power, the purchasing power, is here in the United States. The other 2/3 is outside the United States. And with the developing middle class and the emerging nations and stuff, by 2030, the numbers are going to be even higher. And again, you've got to consider that your foreign competition is increasing here domestically. So to be competitive, you need to consider opening markets abroad as well to be competitive in the long run. And again, exporting certainly is profitable. It can help businesses learn to compete more successfully. And again, of the companies that export, they're 8.5% less likely to go out of business because, again, they have to be adaptive. And again, typically jobs related to exports pay 15% more. So again, all benefits to why companies and individuals working in the companies might want to consider exporting. Again, let's pull out some trade statistics from the International Trade Administration. The amount of Washington goods exported in 2006 was $79.6 billion, and we're ranked 4th among all 50 states. Again, we're behind Texas, we're 3rd, I'm sorry, we're behind Texas and California. And again, of the Washington State export markets that we export to, China by far is our largest market, followed by Japan, Canada, Korea, the United Arab Emirates. The last 4th or 5th, the Korean United Arab Emirates, that usually those countries may move around from year to year depending upon if there's a big Boeing sale or not. Because again, our top exporting categories, as you can see, the top category is transportation equipment. We record all those Boeing commercial sales. So again, a large part of that is Boeing aircraft. But again, agricultural products, computer and electronic products, processed foods, and petroleum and coal products. So again, we have both bulk ag as well as value-added food and beverage products coming out of Washington State. And that's a great opportunity for Washington State businesses because, again, Washington State food and drink products are unique, and again, American foods are safe, so they're strongly desired in foreign markets. And again, there's about 11,352 small and medium-sized goods exporters in Washington. So again, SMEs account for 90% of all Washington goods exporters, and about 20% of the known Washington goods export value. And again, Washington State goods export supports 375,000 jobs. And again, 91% of these jobs are supported by manufactured goods. And again, unfortunately, there's not a good way of tracking service exports. Goods exports are tracked through the census through goods traveling through the ports. Unfortunately, services aren't tracked in such a way. Now let's speak to some of the resources that we have that can help companies who want to export at the local level, state, regional, and federal agencies, all that support international trade. We have what is called the Washington Export Outreach Team, which is a group of basically local, state, regional, and federal agencies, and we work cooperatively together across Washington State to support Washington exporters. And we've got a no wrong door philosophy. So if you come to me or you come to Lee and you need some assistance, but the assistance we determine isn't something our agency provides, we can get you the resources that can help somebody. And again, so again, a no wrong door philosophy. And again, here's some of the agencies that are involved on our Washington Export Outreach Team. The U.S. Small Business Administration, the district offices we have, Lee with the Office of International Trade, me with the EXIM Bank. We have U.S. Commercial Service, U.S. Department of Commerce. We've got USDA Rural Development, which has offices across Washington State. And we have a Tacoma Minority Business Development Agency Business Center, which again is regional in focus as well. On the state side, we've got the Washington State Department of Commerce, the Department of Ag, And again, another resource is the Washington Small Business Development Center Network. And again, we've got 2 export readiness centers, one in Spokane and one in Tukwila, that cover their respective sides of the state. We've got Washington SCORE chapters. We've got the Export Finance Assistance Center of Washington. We've got Impact Washington, which is a manufacturing extension partnership partner, and some of the classes we provide. Again, one of our focuses obviously is in counseling and providing our services, but one of these other strong focuses we have is doing an education and outreach events. This webinar being, kind of a little spin-off of it. We do offer an Export 101 class, which is a full-day class. We've also developed a 101 light class, which is a half-day version of the class, a little bit abbreviated. Then we have a third type of forum called an Export Resource Forum. And again, our seminars are unique in the fact that we walk companies through the exporting process and introduce them to the resources to help them. And again, the companies have the opportunity to meet one-on-one network with all these agencies at the end of the events. And again, the ability of getting all these agencies together to put on events is actually quite a challenge. So again, it's an opportunity for somebody to meet potentially 12 people representing 12 different agencies all at the same day. So it's a great opportunity. It's almost like an expo fair, a mini expo fair. And again, we've got groups, and again, we've got organizations within the Washington Export Outreach Team that provide business counseling services. Again, SCORE, SBDC, EFACWA, and the MBDA. Certainly, export development resources. We've got the commercial service, the U.S. Department of Commerce. And again, supporting in Washington State, we've got an office here in Seattle and in Spokane and Portland, which covers Southwest Washington. We've got Washington State Department of Commerce, again, statewide, Department of Ag, again, statewide. And regionally, we've got a regional. It's the Western U.S. Agricultural Trade Association, which doles out the money nationally from the U.S. Department of Agriculture through a lot of great, they've got grant programs, and they do a lot of inbound and outbound trade missions working closely with WSDA. And then you've got your financing resources. You've got USDA Rural Development. Although they don't have export loan programs per se, they can support a company to do exporting. Certainly you have Lee's agency, SBA Office of International Trade, and you have good old EXIM Bank, which I represent. And again, we want to speak about the sales channels in international trade. And again, we're going to do a brief overview. We're not going to drill in too deep into this. Basically, the ways that you can choose to export your goods and services have an effect on your export plan and your strategies. Again, there's 4 general approaches that may be used. You can passively fill exporters from domestic buyers who then export the product. You can seek out domestic buyers who represent foreign end users or customers. You can then indirectly through intermediaries, which we're going to speak to directly, as well as exporting directly. And again, once you have a company and you basically have a website on the good old internet, you essentially are an international business, whether you want to or not. You're going to start receiving foreign inquiries on your products and services. And again, some of the questions that when you consider how you're going to distribute the thing is, what channels of distribution should your company use to market its products abroad? Where should your company produce its products, and how should it distribute them in a foreign market? And are there warehouse facilities available in foreign markets to shorten supply lines, save money on freight, and get the products to buyers faster? So these are all strategies. And again, the business consulting resources that we flipped by earlier on the WEOT team could certainly help you with this process of developing that piece of your export business plan. And again, some of the questions you want to consider when distributing your products are, what type of representatives, brokers, wholesalers, dealers, distributors, or end user customers should you use? What are the characteristics and capabilities of those intermediaries? And do you need the assistance of an export management company or an export trading company? I'm going to speak a little bit to what they are in a second. Okay, there's basically 2 strategies. The first strategy is indirect exporting. Again, for a smaller company, this is often a good way to start entering foreign markets because it's less complex and less risk than direct exporting. And again, there's several types of intermediary companies that can provide a full range of export services. The first one is a confirming house or buying agent, which will represent foreign companies that want to purchase your products and services. You've got export management companies that can act as the export department for producers of goods and services. Okay, so essentially, you can contract with them, and they would essentially be the export arm of your company. The third one is an export trading company, which can facilitate the export of goods and services, and it can either act as an export department for producers, or they can actually take title of the product themselves independently. You've got export agents, merchants, and remarketers, again, which purchase products directly from you, and they package and label the products according to their own specifications. So again, they're selling it under their own name. The other opportunity you have is for piggyback marketing. Okay, it's an arrangement in which one manufacturer's service company distributes the second company's product or service. So, for example, a company that's selling coffee making machines and stuff could distribute coffee at the same time, because again, they're complementary products. That would be an example of piggyback marketing. Okay, now we're going to speak about direct exporting. Okay, again, the advantage of direct exporting is that you're taking more control over the export process. So again, you have potentially higher profits. You have a closer relationship to the overseas buyer and marketplace, where you can learn good information to basically boost your overall competitiveness. However, there comes a price, because again, you need to devote time, personnel, and resources more to direct exporting than to indirect exporting. And again, typically, to handle exporting, you need a proper channel of distribution. And again, these channels include sales representatives, agents, distributors, retailers, and end users. And again, sales representatives are an overseas sales rep is the equivalent of a manufacturer's rep in the United States. It uses your company's product literature and samples to present the product to potential buyers. Now again, there's been widely misunderstood the terms between agents and distributors. Typically, agents and representatives. An agent means a representative who normally has an authority, perhaps even a power of attorney, and again, to make commitments on behalf of your company that he or she represents. Most companies here in the United States and developing countries use the term representative because, again, it doesn't imply that they have power of attorney authority. Again, the foreign distributor is a merchant who purchases goods and services from the U.S. exporter and resells them for a profit. So again, the foreign distributor provides, you want to choose somebody who can provide support and services for your product and relieve the exporter, the U.S. exporter, of those responsibilities. They oftentimes carry inventory of products and a sufficient supply of spare parts and maintain adequate facilities and personnel for servicing operations. And again, this is the most common and consistent channel for producing the desired results among small business exporters. And again, it's distributors. Again, you also have the ability to sell through foreign retailers. Okay, you can sell directly to the foreign retailers, although they're generally limited to consumer lines. And again, this approach relies on having traveling sales representatives who directly contact the foreign retailers, either through direct meetings or through mailing catalogs, brochures, and the like. And then the other opportunity is direct sales to end users. And again, that's where you, as an exporter, sell your product or service directly to the end users in foreign countries. And again, your end users, a point of consideration, could be foreign government institutions, so it could be business to government. It could be businesses, so again, business to business. Or it could be final consumers via online sales, so again, business to consumer sales. And again, the buyers can be identified at trade shows, through international publications, by overseas post of the U.S. Commercial Service. You can find them through internet search engine results as well. And again, let's speak about the international payments of, once you've identified what channels you're going to sell through, how are you going to sell and how are you going to get paid? Okay, so we're going to speak about international payment methods. Now, the principles behind this are basically flipped as far as what you, as the U.S. exporter, again, you want to receive payment as soon as possible, as opposed to the foreign buyer, who oftentimes wants to delay payment as long as possible. You essentially have 4 payment methods: cash in advance, letters of credit, documentary collections, and open account. And again, depending upon which they represent either lower, medium, or high risk to the U.S. exporter, the seller. Again, obviously, cash is your lowest risk. Extending credit on open account is your highest risk. And when you flip it around for the importer, the foreign buyer, when they pay in advance of receiving the goods or services, again, they're at highest risk, as opposed to open account, where they pay after the goods have been shipped or the services have been delivered. Again, let's look at the 4 payment methods in and of themselves independently. Cash in advance, I think it's pretty self-explanatory. The importer, the foreign buyer, makes payment before the goods are shipped or the services are provided by the U.S. exporter. And again, typically payments are made via wire transfer or automated clearinghouse or payment. You could also get payment via foreign check, foreign draft, credit cards, or PayPal or Apple Pay, or all these new payment mechanisms. But again, your concern is that you want good funds in your account. Oftentimes, a check or a credit card payment, you're offered provisional credit, and you could get charged back at the end of the month. So my recommendation is, if you're going to get paid on an international transaction, my recommendation is a wire transfer, because once the money is wired into your account, nobody can take it out of your account without your authority. And again, in a transaction in cash in advance, banks don't handle documents, but again, they're facilitating the payment, again, via either sending or receiving the funds. And again, it could be in US dollars or in foreign currencies as well. A letter of credit is a bank intermediated payment method. And again, it's oftentimes referred to as a documentary or commercial letter of credit. And again, it's a contractual agreement where a bank in the foreign buyer's country, known as the issuing bank, acts on behalf of its customer, which is known as the applicant, under letter of credit terms, which is your foreign buyer or your importer. Again, they authorize a bank in the seller's country, known as the advising bank, to make payment to the beneficiary, again, the U.S. exporter, against the receipt of stipulated documents. So a letter of credit is a separate contract from the sales contract from which it's based, and so the bank is not concerned whether each party fulfills the terms of the contract. The bank's obligation to pay is solely based upon seller's compliance with the terms and conditions of the letter of credit. And in letter of credit transactions, banks deal in documents only, not in the underlying goods and services. So I used to work in letters of credit for 23 years, and literally a letter of credit is kind of like a menu of what is going to be shipped, and the documents representing what the shipment is. And if the documents are presented and they're in order, a bank's obligated to pay. The foreign buyer, if they go bankrupt, the bank's still obligated to pay. So you as a U.S. exporter are taking on foreign bank risk instead of foreign buyer risk overseas. And again, I'm not going to go through the details of how it works. Again, I can drill into this at a later date, and oftentimes people provide full day or 2-day letter of credit classes, so I'm not going to try to do 2 days work in 30 seconds here. The second bank intermediate payment product is called a documentary collection. And in this, the U.S. exporter entrusts collection of payment to its bank, which sends documents to the foreign buyer's bank along with instructions for payment. So again, the seller's bank acts as an agent to present documents to the foreign buyer's bank in exchange for payment for the documents or acceptance of a draft, which is a commitment by the foreign buyer to pay at some later date in the future. The bank's liability is limited to the releasing or accepting the documents against its payment and following the instructions. So again, you're not substituting the foreign bank's creditworthiness for that of the foreign buyer as you have in a letter of credit. And again, I'm not going to speak to the workflow. And then we're going to speak about the fourth payment method, which is open account or extended payment terms. So again, an open account transaction means that the goods are shipped and delivered, or the services are provided before the payment is due. And again, it could be 30, 60, 90 days, whatever the contract terms are. And again, the goods and services, along with all the necessary documents, are shipped directly to the importer, the foreign buyer, from the U.S. exporter, with an invoice to be paid at a future date. And again, your payments, again, are going to be made via those wire transfers, automated clearinghouse payments, or those other methods. And again, banks don't handle documents, but facilitate payment underneath this structure. So again, your payment considerations, if you're a U.S. exporter, again, if you're looking to get payment in advance or at the time of the shipment of the goods or after shipment of the goods and provisions of the services, again, they differ. So again, I'm not going to go through these in detail. You can look at these at a later date. But again, it depends upon your risk profile and your relationship with that foreign buyer, how well you know each other and how well you trust each other to determine whether you want to extend credit or you want to get paid in advance. And it's the flip side for the foreign buyer, again, based upon knowing you, the U.S. exporter, your ability to be able to fulfill the contract, and their financial capacity, whether they can pay in advance or they need to pay after the goods have been shipped or the services have been provided. But again, the reality is that selling domestically in the United States, you need to sell on credit. It's really a requirement in today's economy. And you'll find most companies can't compete domestically or globally unless they can offer credit terms. So now we're going to speak to my agency, Import Bank. We've got a product called Export Credit Insurance. And again, what it is insurance against non-payment of foreign accounts receivable. Again, it's not a means to make a bad credit good, and it's not a primary source of repayment. Again, it's an insurance against non-payment risk. And again, the benefits to a U.S. exporter is, first off, is that it's a risk mitigation tool. Our product allows, or Export Credit Insurance as a product allows U.S. exporters to safely offer extended credit terms to their foreign buyers. And EXIM Bank provides 95% coverage against commercial and political risk on foreign accounts receivables on small businesses. Commercial risk are things like bankruptcy, insolvency, protracted default, slow payers. Political risk would be anything a foreign government does that prevents that foreign buyer from making the payment to you, the U.S. exporter. Again, 95% risk coverage. Second benefit is that it's a sales and marketing tool. With the benefit of export credit insurance, it can help you, the U.S. exporter, to increase sales to existing customers in existing markets, or open new sales to new customers in those same foreign markets, or wholly open up new sales to new customers in new foreign markets that might not ordinarily happen without the use of export credit insurance product support. The third benefit is that it's a financing tool. Oftentimes when a company starts having lots of foreign receivables on their balance sheet, they need to tap into those insured receivables. So how they do that is an exporter can assign payment of the policy proceeds on their insured foreign receivables to their lender. That allows the lender to add the exporter's foreign receivables into the borrowing base. So oftentimes your bank can lend more capital to you, the exporter, against the insured foreign receivables, and oftentimes on better financing terms. So again, it's a financing tool for you, the U.S. exporter. And the fourth benefit is that it's a credit management tool. Oftentimes, small business exporters don't have the ability to figure out how to underwrite a foreign buyer. With export credit insurance, you submit the foreign buyer's name to EXIM Bank, and if EXIM Bank can approve that buyer, then you can safely offer open account extended payment terms secured by export credit insurance. If we can't approve that buyer, then you the U.S. exporter, need to request secure payment terms. And when I refer to secure payment terms, I speak of cash in advance or letter of credit. So again, EXIM Bank in this case is helping you, the U.S. exporter, to make the decision to extend credit on your foreign buyer. And then we've got a variety of policy types. We've got 2 of 4 small businesses that are multi-buyer policies. And the benefit of these 2 policies, the Express and the Small Business Multiplier, is that we offer blended rates. So depending upon whether you're selling into Tokyo, Japan, or Cairo, Egypt, you're going to pay premium based upon the terms as well as the value of the shipment, not based upon the country risk. For more experienced exporters, we have a standard multi-buyer policy where we look at the whole portfolio of risk and we determine rates based upon that. And then your fourth option we have is a single buyer policy, which can be used by any exporter desiring to insure only one buyer at a time. It could be one shipment or a series of shipments over an entire year. So you have a lot of clients who formerly use letters of credit who switch to single buyer policies and to save a lot of money on trade fees. And for our export credit insurance, EXIM Bank has registered brokers support. We pay brokers a commission to help you apply for the policy, obtain a policy quote, submit your foreign buyers' names to get buyer credit limits, and at the end of the month after you ship the goods, provided the services, you'd report the shipment and pay the premiums. And if your foreign buyer didn't pay for the contract terms, they would help you file a claim on EXIM Bank, and again, we presumably, if the claim's in order, we'll pay you 95 cents on the dollar on that invoice. Some of the restrictions we have on EXIM Bank is that we can't support the export of defense articles or services or sales to military buyers. That being said, we can do stuff for humanitarian purposes, drug interdiction purposes, or dual use items. We also have content requirements. So under our short-term insurance, each item on the shipment has to have more than 50% U.S. content, or we can aggregate it on an invoice basis. So for example, we could have a container of lumber which has 49% Canadian lumber and 51% U.S. lumber. So long as it's being shipped out of the U.S., we could qualify that entire invoice for EXIM Bank support. Again, we speak about service exports because, again, we do support service exports as well. The services need to be performed by U.S.-based personnel. They could be U.S. nationals or foreign nationals, but they're employees of the U.S. company, and again, they can provide the services here in the United States, or they can provide services in the host country overseas. And again, EXIM Bank, we're open for business in about 180 countries. If we're closed, it's typically for political or economic reasons, and we have a country limitation schedule on our website which indicates where we're open for business. And again, now I'm going to hand it over to Lee, and Lee's going to speak about SBA's programs.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so as John mentioned, oftentimes if you're offering credit to foreign buyers, there's a need for capital, primarily working capital, and the SBA helps to provide the support to banks to allow them to offer credit to the exporter. Where the credit insurance protects you, the exporter, the SBA guarantee basically protects the bank and helps to motivate them to work with you, the exporter. We have a variety of programs. but we are limited. Unlike EXIM, we cannot exceed $5 million aggregate for export-related loans or any loan as far as that goes. We do have no U.S. content requirement. Our only requirement is that it has to ship from the U.S. We can finance military exports, and I have done that frequently in the past. We like to see a business to be in business for at least a minimum of 12 months. But in the absence of that, if we can underwrite and show the proven expertise that you, the exporter, has in the product line that you're exporting, we can oftentimes work our way around that. And then we'll provide a 90% guarantee to the bank for most export-related loans. We have 3 basic programs that are our core programs. The Export Working Capital Program, acronym EWCP, is how we often refer to it, and it's probably easier for me to do that now in the interest of time. The International Trade Loan, and then the Export Express. As you can see, the Export Express has a maximum limit of $500,000. Primarily the reason for that is it can be used for multiple different purposes. We really don't have the guidelines or the management in place for the Export Express that we, as far as conditions, that we do have with the other programs. The Export Working Capital is great for small businesses looking to get into exporting because it's based on a transaction. Most generally, that transaction is insurable, and that's part of the reason why we're like to do that. We can support a single export order up to or multiple export orders, but basically all you have to have in place to qualify for this loan is a signed contract with some sort of a down payment or a deposit in place. You really don't have to have any other collateral other than that particular contract. The payment from the foreign buyer is applied directly to the loan through a cash collateral account, and basically all that means is that as John mentioned, most payments are wire transfers. That goes into a bank-controlled account, which is then applied to the loan, and the excess profits are given to you, the exporter. It can finance. The good thing is it can finance up to 100% of your direct costs. So if you're a small company that suddenly gets a larger order, one that's a little beyond your reach, we can finance 100% of those costs, including the soft costs such as lights, electricity, management-related costs, except we cannot exceed 90% of the purchase order. The international trade loan can be used for many different things. Primarily, the difference between it and the other programs is the fact that the other programs are revolving lines or working capital lines of credit, where the international trade loan is more of a term loan set up on monthly payments. We'll provide a 90% guarantee to help you purchase the equipment or make renovations to your facility, whatever may be needed for you to meet that export order. We're here basically to, again, as John mentioned, enhance your ability to compete on the international market. This loan can also be used if your company is being challenged by imports. So if you're struggling because an exporter from a different country is pushing imports here into the U.S. and they're in direct competition with you, and that's creating financial difficulties for you, then we can use this loan to help restructure your debt in such a way that you're able to then compete. The eligibility for this is there has to be a business plan, and basically that's our sole export requirement that shows how the loan will help you to either go internationally or continue to compete here on the domestic market. The SBA Express is used, as I mentioned earlier, for multiple of different reasons. You can use it to attend trade shows, to help market your product, do translations of your material. a number of different things. It can be either a term loan or a revolving loan. However, it can only be termed out for a maximum of 7 years, where the others can go out much longer than that. Here's my contact information. John and I are always available. If you have questions, please feel free to reach out to us. Give us a call. As John mentioned, we have a no wrong door philosophy.
And again, there's my contact information as well. And again, I want to give one last parting point to this before we open up to questions. Again, the secret to export success. This is a quote from a famous American: "Exporting takes teamwork to succeed." And again, what is teamwork? It's a fuel that allows common people to attain uncommon results. That's Andrew Carnegie. So again, our Export 101 class, we'd love to come down to Thurston EDC and do an Export 101 class with you guys. And hopefully we can get more people interested, and we could do a one-on-one class, either a full-day class, half-day class, or an export resource forum. But again, at this point, let's open it up to questions. Do you have any questions on the line? From Sandra, do you have any questions? Okay. I guess one of the things we can speak about too is that we also do sector-focused events. So again, we interface with the Washington State Department of Commerce and the U.S. Commercial Service, have people assigned to certain sectors. And we're fortunate in Washington State to have lots of good industry associations where you can go to events where oftentimes they could be bringing in people from foreign embassies and consulates where they are doing business in certain countries' events. So there's some great resources and events available that we also participate in as well. Lee?
I think that if a person is interested, John mentioned that there are a lot of SBA resources. I'd like to give a shout out to our district office in the fact that the newsletter is one good way to keep yourself informed about all the different activities and different things. We realize that there are a lot of different agencies out there providing support to you as small businesses. And so if you would just go on to sba.gov/Seattle, I believe, you can get signed up for our newsletter, and they will certainly keep you posted and keep you aware of all the different opportunities that are out there for your benefit that are free.
Yeah, and when you go to the export.gov platform, there's some great resources. The Basic Guide to Exporting, it's an online guide, and it speaks to the whole exporting process, and we use some talking points from the book as far as part of our presentation. But some of the resources they have on the line is they have country commercial guides, which essentially are doing business in countries, so you can determine whether that country might be a good foreign market for you to go into. They have industry sector guides speaking to, for example, the automotive industry, and again, what foreign markets would be good opportunities to go into. That would just be an example. But certainly, those are great resources, and they've also developed some great webinar content where you can watch videos on these subjects. So again, you can read the book, look at the videos, and do a lot of your training online. But again, in regards to doing foreign market research, one of the organizations that I would certainly recommend is getting involved with is the Washington Small Business Development Center Network. And again, Sharon Sappington is responsible on this side of the mountains. They're affiliated with Washington State University. They can do both domestic and foreign market research and help you validate what markets you want to go into to be successful. And once you've identified what markets you want to go into, what you can do then is reach out to your state commerce or ag, or at the federal level, your U.S. Commercial Service, or potentially your WSATA, to help you with that foreign market development. Again, they can help you identify those channel partners, again, to sell your products through successfully. So again, there's a robust resources you can reach out to, and again, we're certainly one of many starting points, but certainly starting with Tracy and the Washington Center for Women in Business is certainly a great starting point as well, because again, we look to organizations such as theirs, again, the SBA-funded women's business centers, because again, we're trying, that we've got about 24 people in the field to our agencies, but we're relying on our cadre of bankers and economic development agencies and specialists to help find companies and refer them to us. We'll help get them along the way. So again, we're pardon the cliche, but we're the government. We're here to help.
Also, just a final note. We're always looking for opportunities to serve women-owned businesses. This is a great venue for us. So Tracy, we hope as you reach out that you let people know that from the SBA programs and others that there's always extra points added on when we're serving either minority or women-owned or some kind of a specialty type business. Appreciate the opportunity.
Do you have any questions, Tracy?
No, thank you so much, and I love the approach. I think it's what we have down here too, no wrong door. So if you're not really sure who to reach out to, us, John, Lead, whatever, just reach out to somebody. We'll make sure you get into the right hands. So thank you guys so much. Man, that was a lot of information. Thank you. That was amazing. And hopefully we can do an Export 101, a little bit more information. I think we're working on getting one in this area soon. So that all sounds good. But yeah, final thanks to both of you so much.
Well, the benefit of the Export 101 is it gives you a chance to be face-to-face, one-on-one, and we can help answer your questions in a way that's going to make sense to you rather than from a broad perspective.
And you can meet a dozen agencies all at the same time, and trust me, that doesn't happen that often. So again, we're bringing all the experts to you, and that's what we're trying to do. Because again, and we rely on organizations such as Tracy, you guys, and your other corresponding agencies you have down at the Thurston EDC there. So again, we'd love to partner with Advent, and I've got a call into Michael. We'd like to do something in July if we could, but we'll see.
Yeah.
To be determined. Okay.
To be determined, definitely. And we'll make sure to send that out to everybody, all of our clients when that date does get set, so that everybody knows that they can come to it. And
one of the things I'll do is
the note from Sandra here said that she'll be passing the information along. And yes, please do pass us either the recording or the contact information. To echo that we are here to help.
Yeah, one of the things I have that I'll send that you can share with Sandra and stuff like that is we've got some great ebooks and videos which speaks about our products in plain English. Oftentimes these products seem very complicated because and a lot of people, the business owners aren't financial people, so we speak about these products and how they can help at a very basic level. And again, if they start making sense, we can do a deeper drill. But again, if you don't understand the product and how it can help, and certainly export credit insurance, again, the main product that we sell, we have other products, is really compelling because, again, the reality is most foreign buyers want you to ship the product now and pay later. And, again, we can take that risk out of the transaction, 95% of the risk out of the transaction. So love to speak to, companies about that. And, again, that certainly can help move the needle.
Yeah, that's amazing for small businesses. Amazing. Well, thank you, guys. I'll let everybody go and carry on with their Wednesday. And next week we'll have boosting your sales using social media, so that'll be a good one too.
Yeah, that's great.
Thanks again, both Leland and John. It was amazing. Thank you.
All right, thanks, Tracy.
Bye.
Bye.
Have a good one, everyone.